Odisha police has filed a case with charges of causing death by negligence and endangering life in the Balasore train tragedy. 101 bodies are yet to be identified.
That's right. So that big humanitarian crisis unfolding after the railway minister said that the railway board has recommended a CBI probe into the incident, and also now the focus is on providing medical relief to the injured and also making sure that the mortal remains of the deceased victims are actually handed over to their families. Now remember, around 200 people are being treated in various hospitals across the state.
One of the biggest challenges for the government was to ensure medical help to all injured and make sure that the mortal remains of the deceased victims are handed over to their families. Here's a senior official overseeing the process and what he had to say.
Approximately 1100 passengers who were injured in that ill-fated train on that ill-fated day. Now 900 passengers have been treated in various hospitals in the state and have been discharged. So currently less than 200 passengers are undergoing treatment in various hospitals across the state. Out of 278 passengers, approximately 177 this process has started and been done, and 101 bodies currently, as per our information, and is not yet been identified.
We have our colleague Saurabh Gupta joining us to get us the latest. Saurabh, we just heard an official say that 101 bodies are yet to be identified of the 275 that have lost their lives.
That's right. In fact, 101 bodies are yet to be identified. That's what clearly is been said. And this, of course, is many believe several of these bodies could be also from, people who were traveling from West Bengal, which is why you had the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee traveling today to oversee the entire process along with officials. She will be in Bhubaneswar, then she will go to the hospital in Cuttack. But the visit today to Bhubaneswar, Mamata Banerjee's visit today, is primarily at looking at how to repatriate the dead bodies to their loved ones. A lot of them are very poor people, like I said. If I can ask my camera person to show you, what you see here is the sleeper class and the Deen Dayalu coach. Now, this is where the poorest of the poor travel. The railways is affordable because of this form of travel, where the sleeper class and the Deen Dayalu coaches, you travel at a very, very minimal cost. And if you see, these are the coaches that are the most badly damaged. These were at the front of the train. So the most number of deaths are from these coaches. In fact, I can ask my camera person to show you here. That is the Deen Dayalu coach, which is there, just beside the parcel van. If you see, that is the Deen Dayalu coach. So there, of course, is where the most amount of deaths took place. And a lot of these bodies are identified. The West Bengal Chief Minister is coming to Bhubaneswar and Cuttack to help with this process of helping those who've lost their loved ones and making sure that they get back the remains of their last ones, because that is also important, not just from an emotional point of view or closure or the traumatic experience they've had, but also the legal point of view, which we don't have proper sort of identification and then a proper death certificate, etc., then a lot of legal problems can also arise for the families in terms of compensation, in terms of other issues. So those are issues that the state government wants to ensure go off without a hitch, because the families have already been traumatized. They don't need to go through another round of trauma, going through documents, and going through the bureaucratic process. So both the Odisha government and the West Bengal government are trying their best to ensure that this repatriation of dead bodies, this process of handing over, identifying dead bodies, happens without a glitch. That is why you have the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, traveling to Bhubaneswar and Cuttack today. Meanwhile, a CBI team is expected here at the site of the railway accident as they begin their probe into this railway accident that has caused the loss of so many lives, one of the worst train collisions in decades, and also whether there was any kind of culpability of any official, of any person, of any other individual in this kind of railway accident. That's going to be the mandate of the CBI probe.
Right, Saurabh, you were mentioning that the CBI is taking over the probe, and you also showed us, that sleeper coach. So, on an average, Saurabh, tell us a percentage of the kind of people that travel, in that sleeper coach, say, in comparison to the rest of the train. So, is it the most crowded coach as far as the train is concerned?
Yes, let me show you actually. What you have is here a sleeper coach. This is a sleeper coach. As my camera person Pavan Kumar is showing you, this is a sleeper coach. Look at the damage to that coach. It is very likely that the people who were in that coach may have perished in this accident. Then on the other side, beside the high capacity parcel van that you see, is the Deen Dayalu coach. Now that is got even more passengers because that's a seating arrangement. It's not even a sleeping arrangement. The sleeper class is a non-AC sleeping arrangement which has reservations. But in the Deen Dayalu coach, these are what you refer to as general compartment. So there, of course, you have a huge number of crowd and the poorest of the poor traveling. So those coaches will obviously be much more crowded than your air-conditioned coaches, which are, wider berths. So obviously they accommodate lesser people.
Right.
So in that context, yes, the number of people in these coaches are much, much more than what you would have in your air-conditioned coaches on the train. So there is, of course, the assumption, which has been also verified, that the most number of deaths would have come from these coaches because simply the crowds in these coaches are much higher.